everyone, welcome back to Powerful Transformations. I'm Melanie Klinghoffer, breakthrough coach, transformational speaker, intuitive guide, and published writer, and I am incredibly grateful that you're here. Over the last 13 days, I took a purposeful pause from my channel. Some of you might be wondering why I did that after relaunching it on September 1st. Well, the truth is, September 6th was my birthday, my 48th birthday, which fell on Labor Day weekend here in the United States, which is a federal holiday. I did not consider before launching my channel the effect of doing it right before my birthday. Birthdays have been very difficult and complex for me for the last 13 years, and they bring up a tremendous amount of grief and loss. I have a twin brother who's 3 minutes older than me, who alienated from our family 13 years ago, and that was due to unaddressed chaos and conflict, and I love him very much, and I don't blame him for taking care of himself and setting boundaries, but it was devastating, derailing, and disappointing. And for 13 years, I was in denial. I felt abandoned and betrayed, rejected, and lost. I felt grief and anger and fury, and I did not enjoy September 6th for 13 years. I did not enjoy waking up on that day. I didn't see a purpose for being alive or celebrating. Whatever joy and bliss and happiness should come on that day. My brother and I shared birthdays our whole childhood, obviously, birthday cakes and celebrations. And as an adult, we were on different sides of the country. We would race to the phone at midnight to see which one of us could beat each other to wishing each other a happy birthday. So you can only imagine. And he was, a confidant. He was my best friend, and I trusted him. And so when he left to take care of himself, I was lost without him, and it affected everything. I was in denial for 13 years about the significance of not intentionally healing the grief and loss was causing me, not feeling the pain, disassociating from my body, not talking about the experience, not because I necessarily didn't want to. Every time I started to, I couldn't. The pain, the heaviness laid on my chest, and I couldn't even breathe whenever his name came up. And I couldn't open up about something that was so incredibly devastating, heartbreaking. And so why am I sharing this with you today? I have gone through my own breakthrough in my life in respect to the impact grief and loss has had, and how to transform the pain into peace and into some pleasure. On my birthday this year, I made a firm decision to not suppress the emotions that came forth. I allowed myself to cry, to write my feelings out, and identify what those feelings actually were. Not just sadness or depression, but real, true loss, numbness, anger, rage, fury, just complete desolation. I allowed myself to talk to people in a support group who've been through similar experiences as I have. And I spent time with my mother, and we had a beautiful dinner together. So there was some pleasure mixed with the pain, and some peace that came from meditation and doing a yoga video for the brokenhearted. I'll put the link in the summary section. And doing some breath work. I'll put another link in the section below that, a video that I do for breath work. And I talked to friends that were close to me. And more than anything, I allowed myself to feel the tingling and the sensations that were moving through my body, where in the past I might have numbed those with food or work or shopping. I allowed myself to sit still, to feel fully, to allow myself to express openly, and to purge through tears, through talking, through crying, through laughing, through many different emotions that came up. It was also important that I share this on this video. It was also Suicide Awareness Week or Suicide Awareness Day this last week. And I was going to do a video on my channel for suicide awareness and prevention. But I was still going through my own process. I'm a highly introverted person when it comes to recovering my energy and being introspective. For those of you who are on the spiritual journey, I have 4 planets in Virgo, so I am under the sign of the Hermit. And so, like a hermit crab, I go into my shell until I'm ready to come out with a clear mind, with logic, with reasoning, and with insight and wisdom. I'm a Cancer for my Venus sign, so I'm highly emotional when it comes to love and relationships. So it affects me, even at a higher capacity in regards to my sensitivity. And I'm a Libra in my rising sign, so I need fairness and justness and balance and all of that. So I'm using spirituality and astrology as a way to share with you part of how I navigated my healing process and the things that were coming up for me in regards to transforming the pain into some peace and pleasure, but also how to remain balanced and in harmony with myself, with others that day. This year was the first time in 13 years that I have been able to find some kind of peace and pleasure on my birthday. And I mentioned suicide awareness and prevention, and I'm not using a script for this video. I'm being very vulnerable and sharing my story. And so I want to go back to that for a second. I wanted to do a video about that, but I was still too deep in my grief and loss to be able to come on video to share my thoughts about that day. So this message is specifically to anyone who's experiencing the feelings of suicidal ideation or thoughts of suicide, any type of depression that you may be going through. I want to give you some hope and optimism. Over the last 13 years, I have experienced suicidal ideations on numerous occasions, wanting to end my life because I didn't see a purpose for continuing. I felt very alone and hopeless and powerless. And it took a lot of work to pull myself out of each of those experiences. And there were many of them over 13 years. In the last year, there have been several. 2019 was an incredibly hard year for me in regards to mental health and massive transitions and rediscovering childhood trauma and going through my own evolution and healing process. And I had to work through many moments of contemplating what was it all for, and why was I here, and what's the point. And I'm so incredibly thankful that I have the opportunity to be here to share this story with you. I will do another video about that in the future, but just know, for those of you who are struggling, that there is a way to come out of the darkness, that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and that life is worth living. And, just not to turn any humor towards it because it's a very serious topic, but one of the experiences that when I was having some suicidal ideations, I listened to a motivational video by a spiritual leader, and I can't think of who it was right now. But one of the things he said was, whatever you don't heal in this lifetime, if you go out by suicide, you have to heal those lessons in the next lifetime. And I was like, oh no, I'm not coming back and going through any more of this. I'm dealing with it all now. And I'm not trying to make light of the subject. Suicidal ideation, suicide awareness. Anyone who's lost anyone by suicide, my aunt committed suicide and my cousin committed suicide. So it's something that I'm personally familiar with because of those losses. I'm also personally familiar with it because of my own battle with it. So this video, it may feel like it's a little circular and going all over the place, but I wanted to explain to you why I took a purposeful pause from my channel between when I relaunched it to now. I am very, very much aware how important it is as a leader, as a teacher, as a coach, as an influencer, to do my own work, to go through my own process, to make sure I am a clear channel, to ensure that I have the tools and the resources in my own life in place to adequately and properly support others. That is why I encourage you to take purposeful pauses whenever you need them, without shame, without guilt. Don't allow your perfectionism to come in to convince you that you have to live up to somebody else's expectations, when you need to make sure that you can live up to your own first. And so it's about not abandoning yourself and setting boundaries so that you can be the voice that you need to be. And I hope that my voice today supported you in the way that it was intended for you to hear. I am finally, for the first time in 13 years, excited about holidays again, about living, about enjoying moments of being present, of simplicity, of connection, of enjoyment, of seeing the smile on other people's faces, because I can bring the smile back to my own. doesn't mean I don't miss my brother. It doesn't mean it's not a very empty space still left in my heart for him, with always the hope that he will return. But I am fine in respect to, and fine, I hate that word so much. I have reached a level of wholeness within myself to be grateful for my own life, to find joy in what I have surrounding me now, and gratitude for the opportunity to continue to expand on that. I pray that this video about purposeful pauses and why I took a break, and grief and loss, and transforming pain into pleasure and peace, as well as the discussion about suicide awareness and prevention, supported you. Please leave your comments below and let me know if this message reached you in regards to hope and optimism. Also, please like and subscribe if you'd like to receive more of my content. And I'm sending you all so much love and light and blessings.